Angels, we back with a part 2 to this story time. So, like I was saying, so my son had told me one time that he wanted 100 kids, and he was like, I was like, by who? And he was like, by me. Now, it ain't like that. What he meant was he looked at his sisters as his from the time my oldest daughter was born, because he my firstborn. So, that's how he viewed that. And he wanted me to have 100 of them. I think excluding him. So basically, I was supposed to be a female version of 101 Dalmatians. but so I forgot where I left off at.
Yeah, 100 kids.
No, what was I getting to? What was I talking about?
The contractions were getting. A couple of days went by. They kept giving the IV drips. You know,
it wasn't a couple of days. It was some hours.
Yeah, well, I mean, it started a couple of hours. They gave you the IV drips. You know.
Yeah, they was giving me the IV drip. Oh yeah, my son showed up.
That was.
And that wasn't a couple of days. It didn't last a couple of days. It lasted 24 hours, but I wasn't at that part yet. The killing story making me tell parts too early. But it was my son and my sister showed up when I was in the shower. What I was saying, that's what I was saying. He wanted to be there at my delivery, and he hadn't experienced that because my family have differences in opinions on that concept of the kids being there to experience the birth. And they feel like you're not supposed to do that, and it's just too much for them. And my son is 13. Well, he just turned 13 right after my birth. So he's old enough to understand, and he himself said he wanted to be there, and I told him that I would like for him to be there, but it's not up to me because he doesn't live with me. And I was surprised when my sister showed up and brought him. So that was a good surprise. So I thought. And so I was in the shower, like I said, when they showed up. And the pain kicked up. The pain had kicked up by then. I think the pain kicked up while I got in the shower because the pain did kick up. Yes, it did kick up. The Pitocin, they had pumped the Pitocin up enough where it was starting to kick my butt. And I was trying to be persistent at not taking any medicine and not getting the epidural. So I was trying to find any means necessary to try to cope with this pain until she got here. And so I was trying the shower method, and I had the shower water running on my back. It was making it not as bad, but that jank won't take that pain away. So I was there like making all kinds of noises, I'm sure. You need to be helping me with this part of the story.
I have her.
Go ahead, bring her. I don't care. Bring her. Because I don't remember everything verbatim, or like it's a lot of details that I'm missing. So I was in the shower when my sister and my son showed up. Oh, meet my beautiful princess, my baby. Because she don't want to cooperate right now. Ooh, her hat's rough. She don't want to cooperate right now, so she got to be in the video. But I was in the shower when my sister and my brother showed up. Help you with the story.
Oh, all right. When her sister popped up, she was in the shower. There's some parts before that, but she was in the shower.
What parts?
And
what parts before that?
That's for round 3, but so yeah, and then your son was there, your father was there, and the nurses were trying to explain that there was an overload of potassium in her system.
While I was in the shower?
No. After you got out
we
the shower.
We didn't get to that part.
Sorry. Calm down. All right.
Stay in order.
So, I went out the room so they could have some family time, sister, father, son, stuff like that. You know the rest.
No, come on now, tell the story. Oh my God.
And
But just stay in order.
let me finish. All right, so yeah, you know, you had the IV in your arm, so you came out, and I can't recall anything else, but
I did. Did I have an IV? Oh yeah, I did.
yeah.
They had to try to help. They had to help me in the shower without messing up my IV and my everything. Because they had IV. The Pitocin was through IV.
Right.
So I got out the shower once I realized my dad and them was there. I had the nurse maybe wait until she came to help me out the shower so I wouldn't fall, and to put my clothes on so that I wouldn't come out naked because my dad and my son was there. If it was just my sister, I wouldn't care. But my son and my father was there, so I had to put something on. I think I put a robe on, right? They put a robe on me and helped me out of the bathroom. And I think as soon as I got out of the shower, I remember that pain like really started kicking my butt. And I sat on a chair, which is a bench that's right outside of the bathroom that my sister was sitting on with some, I guess they brought me some bags or something. They brought me some stuff. And it was on the chair. I sat on a chair beside them and was trying to talk to them, talk through the pain, and like letting them know what was going on, just having regular conversation to try to not focus on the pain. And man, that stuff kicked up. Yes. And it wasn't too long after that, and that's when they told me that it had been 24 hours. And I was like, what? I was like, okay. So they was like, they gonna check me and see where I was at, how much I had progressed. And so when they checked me, they said that I was how many centimeters? Like 6 centimeters.
6. And
it had been 24 hours.
So you haven't dilated that much.
They had checked me not long before then, and I was 6 centimeters then. They checked me before I got in the shower, a little while before I got in the shower, and I was 6 centimeters then, and them contractions was kicking my butt. And then they said it had been 24 hours. They was telling my sister and my dad. I guess they assumed that I realized it had been 24 hours. I had not realized it had been anywhere near 24 hours. At all. I did not have no sense of time of what time of the day it was. I think my curtains was closed. Right. So I was not aware that a whole freaking day had passed. Like I was there 10 o'clock. I got there 10 o'clock at night. My water broke 10 o'clock at night, and it was a whole nother night. I did not realize that. So like I didn't get no breakfast, lunch, dinner, nothing for me to realize that. No sleep. So I'm going through this nonstop, and when they told my sister and my dad that it had been 24 hours, I was like, all right, come on. Okay, it's time for that epidural, because I just didn't want to go through that pain anymore. You in the lighting? You're in the lighting. Sorry. I didn't want to go through that pain anymore, so I was like, go ahead and give me that epidural. This has to be over. And it wasn't even just that didn't want to go through that pain anymore. When your water breaks, you need to go ahead and have a baby like as soon as possible, because the longer you go after your water breaks, your body is open and is susceptible to all types of bacteria and infection that can get to the baby and cause a lot of harm to your baby. So had I known it had been 24 hours, I would have told them to go ahead and give me the epidural and do whatever they needed to make her come immediately. But I didn't know that. So I lost track of time. I had no awareness of time. I think I know what I missed out. They had that's what you're supposed to be here for.
You need to hold it because
so when my water broke, my water had initially broke at the top, which I didn't know at first. They eventually found out, somewhere way before the 24-hour mark, they found out that my water didn't break at the bottom like it normally is supposed to. It broke at the top. And so my whole water hadn't come out because it was like open at the top but still closed at the bottom. And so they had to stick the thing inside of me, like a needle thing, long needle thing inside to break, I could feel them tugging that jank too. They stuck something in me and hooked the bag and pulled it to pop my water on the bottom.
Long hook catheter.
Man, that junk was weird and it did not feel good. But they did that, and then everything progressed to where I'm at now. So they gave me they checked me, And I told them to go ahead and give me the epidural because I found out it had been that long. And so they were trying to give me the epidural, but I was like, them contractions was terrible and I couldn't take it no more. I couldn't. It was just too bad. And so they telling me I got to sit up, and I don't do well with needles at all anyway. So they're telling me I got to sit still and take this epidural, and I can't hold on to the lady because I'm like, can I wrap my arms around the nurse's shoulders and like hug her so that I wouldn't jump while they sticking this needle in my spine? And she's like, no, you got to be still, put your arms like this and just hug yourself while I wrap my arms around you to try to hold you still, but you can't flinch. And I'm like, I can't do that because I'm in pain right now. Like, I can't even not move just from the pain of the contractions. And I can't do it. And so they was like, you have to, if you for the baby, or we gonna have to put you to sleep and something like, or the baby has to come. You have to, basically.
Yeah.
And so give her some food.
Well, you missed a couple parts. I'll come back. Be right back.
Sure. Quickly, please.
So before the epidural shot, for one, your blood platelets,
we didn't know none of that yet.
We did.
No, we did. I didn't know none of that yet.
They expressed that to me and to your mom. So yeah, your blood count was low. Your potassium levels were high.
I was anemic.
Yes.
I knew
And
I
your
was
iron
anemic,
was
but
low.
I didn't know that it was dangerously low. And I didn't know anything else was wrong. Point blank, period. I didn't know nothing else was wrong because I wouldn't allow it to go that long, trying to do all natural and all of that. I didn't know none of that. But he's saying that he knew. So I was going to get to that. But can you explain to whatever they had told you before, after I explained when I found out, then you can let them know that what you knew already ahead of time?
Yeah, I just did.
So I got the epidural, and it was horrible. They was telling me to be still, and they was like, if you jump, then you could cause permanent spinal damage. You might have it could cause back pain, and so on and so forth. I flinched like maybe at least about 5 times.
Right, they sent me out the room at this time, so
they sent you out before they started.
Yes, so I couldn't hold you. You didn't have no support to hold on.
Well, I had the nurse was holding on to me.
Right.
My dad and my son was behind the curtain. My sister, I think they might have sent my sister out the room too.
They sent everybody out.
They sent everybody out the room, but at some point, my sister came back in. He came back in. My dad and my son hid behind the curtain. But they were in the room, but they were behind the curtain so they wouldn't see my body. And so that was terrible. It was very hard, and I flinched. I couldn't help it. I flinched because the pain was so bad from the contractions, but also when that needle touched my back, it didn't feel like a sharp needle. Like the first needle was them numbing my back so that I couldn't, like numbing that spot so I wouldn't feel the other needle, the epidural needle. And I definitely flinched from that one.
Right.
And then when they gave me the epidural needle, I didn't feel like a sharp needle, but I could feel something touching my spine. Like I felt the needle touch my back before it penetrated. And then I could feel the pressure of the needle in between my spinal cord. And that, I couldn't help but to flinch with that in the combination of the pain. So anyway, I flinched, which messed my spine up more than what it already was with my metal in my back. They let everybody back in and they checked me. And I promise you, like I said, before they did the epidural, I was only 6 centimeters, which is why I said, go ahead and give me the epidural. But I was so pissed because after they gave me the epidural, I was freaking, 9 centimeters?
Yeah, you were 9.
I was like 9.5.
You were 9 for a while.
No, I was 6 for a while.
I'm sorry, 6.
And then all of a sudden, as soon as they gave me the epidural, I was like 9.5 centimeters, and then immediately 10 centimeters and less push. And I was like, are you serious?
Yeah.
I could have went without the epidural then. Like,
right.
I tried to go without the epidural, and it got down to it where I thought this 6 centimeters won't moving. And then as soon as I got the epidural, like, it just jumped from 6 to 9 to 10. And I was like, yo. So that made me mad because I didn't even have to go. probably wouldn't even have to go through the epidural. But then again, I probably still would. No, because the epidural didn't even kick in. Like, it didn't even do nothing for me. Because at that point, I had waited too late. So I might as well not even have gotten it. So I messed up my spine even more for no reason whatsoever. And so the pushing started. And no, during the epidural, my son and my dad was behind the curtain. They was right there. Mm-hmm. Y'all left out the room, but they was right there.
No,
because
we all had to leave. We were told to leave by the anesthesiologist.
So where were y'all at?
We went outside the room.
But y'all was in the hallway?
In the hallway. This was.
So y'all could hear me though?
Yes.
Okay, so that's what I'm saying. Because my son told me they heard me.
We had to go down the hall, away from the room. This was past day 10 of the hospital.
Day 10?
Yes, day 10.
We weren't there for 10 days.
We were. Yep, a lot of time is transpiring.
How was we there for 10 days?
Because
before I gave birth.
We were.
Wow.
Yes.
I don't remember that.
And when that day that they gave you the epidural shot, you had it. That day. That evening, rather. I'm sorry.
I was not there for 10 days.
Because I remember I had, not to make this long.
Okay, so I lost my memory, which is why I have him here helping me. I lost a lot of my memory from everything that happened. I'm going to go ahead and say that ahead of time before we even get to the rest of how I lost my memory. But I don't remember being there for 10 days.
All right, Mama. All right, Mama. All right.
I don't remember being there for 10 days.
Yes.
I remember that it took 24 hours. I remember we was there the night before all day. We left, came back, and it took a whole other 24 hours after my water broke.
Well, listen. It was 10 days. We were in the hospital. I know.
You know what? We was in the hospital for a few days before my water broke. Yeah. And then we went home. It was 24 hours after my water broke that I had her. Now, I remember, okay, we was in there for a couple of days before they sent me home. But I wasn't in there 10 days before I had her after my water broke.
No, because they sent her home.
Because my water broke as soon as I got back to the hospital. I'm sorry, my water broke as soon as I got back to the hospital. I do remember that. So, my point is that, it came down when I was having my epidural. I promise you, I went from throwing all kinds of F-bombs. I was just like, fuck. Oh my God, fuck, oh my fucking God, and this and that, until I was like, God, please help me. God, please help me. I don't think I'm going to make it. I can't do it. I don't think I'm going to make it. And they was like, the nurse was like, it was a white lady, and she was like, she was like the tough love mother to me. She was dead ass, and that's exactly what I needed. She was holding me. She was telling me I couldn't hold on to her, which was making me mad, and it was making me want to cry. But she was like, you got this. You can do this. Like, you have to do this, and you can do this, and you're going to do this. So I need you to look at me, put your arms like this, and just be still. And I was just like, over it. I couldn't do it. I was like, I can't. It hurt so fucking bad. This is what was coming out of my mouth. It hurt so fucking bad, and I wasn't talking low by any means. I didn't care. Mm-hmm. I was loud. I was cussing. I was throwing F-bombs. I was like, I can't do it. I don't think I'm gonna make it. It hurt so bad. My pussy on fire. It burns.
Ring of fire.
It burns. It burns. It burns. It feels like it's on fire. I need to lay down. I need to push.
Right.
Like, this hurt. And then I went from that to, God, please help me. I just started praying. God, please help me. I don't think I'm going to make it. I need you to help me. Like, I can't do this.
And can I get a shot of pain medicine? But they couldn't give you a shot because they had the epidural.
I was asking for drugs.
Because they had something in your system, and you still haven't.
It wasn't working.
And you still haven't gave birth yet.
It wasn't working.
So.
Because they have narcotics that they can give you, but they gave it to me. They gave it to me when I had Crystal because they wasn't able to put the epidural in. But because they had put the epidural in this time, they couldn't give me both at the same time. So that's what was happening. But the epidural didn't kick in, so it wasn't doing shit for me. And I was like, no, I need something. I can't do this. Like, I'm gonna die. I felt like I was dying. No clue why. No clue that all of this stuff. But after I had the baby, I pushed. How many times did I have to push?
A few times, yes.
many times?
I can't recall, but it was
I had.
a lot
It
of
wasn't. Was it a long time? Once I started pushing.
No, not after you started, but
That's what I'm saying. Once I start pushing, how long was I pushing before she was here?
less than 20 minutes.
Okay, so I was pushing. I pushed her out, and as soon as she came out, it was like such a relief. Like the pain, not the second, but like with a couple of seconds, and it was like so much relief. I still didn't feel all the way normal until like I still felt something, but it was so much better. And I think I looked at you, and you when the baby's head came out, you looked down there to see the baby's face and everything. I was in so much pain, I won't think about none of that. I was in so much pain, I couldn't think about nothing but how am I gonna live through this? Like I thought I was gonna die. He looked down there and saw the baby's head, and then he was holding my hands. He was holding my hand, and I remember after she came out, the relief I felt. I just was like in like this blissful, still hurt, but like so relieved and so glad that I was still here at that moment. And I just looked at him like probably my eyes was probably glazed over and everything. I hadn't slept in over 24 hours. And I was going through this for 24 hours and over 24 hours, and the relief, like it was crazy.
Yeah.
And then when, okay, so my dad and my son came into the room. I think my legs were still open, and they was like, it was so much blood. I didn't see the blood. They made it sure I didn't see it, but I saw it in the pictures afterwards.
Had to make sure you didn't see it.
Later on, I had no clue what was going on. I was just thinking, oh, it's over. No clue that what everybody else was saying. They did amazing at playing calm.
They did.
Y'all, no, I'm talking about y'all, you.
Oh, yeah, me.
Y'all stayed so calm because I did not. Y'all did good at making sure I didn't know. Because if I had seen any reaction on your face, I would have known.
I know. I'm a good,
Oscars, because he sat there and was smiling at me. They was like talking to me normal. They was talking to me normal, like everything was cool, normal. She here, you did it. Like I was just like, we did it. And I remember all I kept saying out my mouth is, my baby. They handed me my baby, and I was just like, my baby. Like that's all I remember saying over and over again. I felt like I sounded retarded, but I couldn't help it. That was just like, I was overwhelmed. And then I looked at him and I saw his face. He was like happy that she was here. That's what I saw on his face. That's all he allowed me to see on his face. And then I was like, I don't remember the conversation that happened that I saw on the video that's on your phone. I don't remember the nurse talking to us about the stuff because you was recording, and then you cut the video off when she started saying certain stuff. So go to that part.
I can't really remember. It's vague too.
The blood count being low.
Yeah,
blood is thin.
she was saying that nah, you're not going home. This ain't. The baby can go home. Of course, they take the baby to the nursery to check the vital signs, all that stuff. The weight was good. Her skin tone
out to all that.
Was good. Everything was fine.
I heard that part, and that's all I heard. I ain't heard nothing else. But go ahead, because I tuned everything up. Something in my subconscious made me blink all that out when it came to things that was wrong. So I didn't hear none of that. But go ahead.
The vital signs were good. Everything was good. Only one problem. Now, mind you, she was in labor for a little while. She was going through all kinds of things, unbeknownst to all the other people in the room, except, of course, for the staff and I and her father and your son and children and sister. They said, no, we have some problems. So I went outside, and then they told you first, of course, but you were halfway out of it by then. But your blood count was low. You had excessive potassium. They were giving you a potassium drip because they knew your iron was low, which, I guess it works hand in hand. So they had to give you more potassium, but they couldn't do that because it was going to overload your kidneys and liver, which it did. So they had to give you a dye.
No. Okay, you're missing a part. So when they was talking to me normal, like nothing was wrong, I remember I turned over and looked at my sister and my dad, and I was like, it feels like an elephant or somebody is sitting on my chest.
Mm-hmm.
And I thought that they was looking at me like they thought I was making this shit up. But I told the nurse, and they just didn't say nothing. And I thought they was not saying nothing because they didn't want to express that they thought that I was just being a hypochondriac. So they didn't say nothing. And the nurse was like, okay, well, we're going to take you to do EKG to make sure you don't have PE. And I was like, what's a PE? And it was like pulmonary embolism. I said, what is that? And they said, a blood clot going to your lungs. We want to make sure you don't have any blood clots that's broken loose and gone to your lungs.
Right.
Because that's what's causing me to feel like something that is sitting on my chest.
But you did have preeclampsia.
I didn't know that. Listen, I'm not there because I didn't know that at this point. I still didn't know nothing at this point. All I knew was I felt like somebody was sitting on my chest after I just gave birth. And so I felt I couldn't breathe. And it felt like, literally, I felt like a ton of weight sitting on my chest, on my lungs, on my chest. And so I told them, they took me down. I don't remember them telling me that I needed to get a dye. Apparently they told me, I don't remember. But they took me to get that, and when I came back, all of a sudden they were saying, oh, well, you don't have a pulmonary embolism, but your heart is swollen. Mm-hmm. And I was like, what does that mean? I used to want to be a doctor, surgeon. I've been studying health. I know that anything with your heart, messing up with your heart is bad. I was very sure that a swollen heart is not good at all. They just told me my heart is swollen. Freak out number one. But I was still trying to stay calm and not freak out. But inside of my mind and soul, freak out number one. So then what happened after that? After they told me my heart was swollen, that's when they started talking about my kidneys and my liver. They started telling me later on that the dye shut my kidney down and my liver was shut down. So now I not only do I have a swollen heart, but now my kidney is not working at all, my liver is not working at all.
Only due to the fact that they had to give you the dye